There is a number that governs your entire financial life. You have never calculated it. You have never been taught it. And until you understand it, every dollar you earn will quietly disappear into a system that was never designed to make you wealthy. Here is the paradox that should keep you awake tonight. Americans collectively earn over $11 trillion in annual income. That is more money flowing through the hands of ordinary working people than the entire GDP of every country on earth except China. And yet, the Federal Reserve's own data shows that the bottom 50% of American households hold just 2.6% of the nation's total wealth. $11 trillion in, 2.6% retained. The money is there. It passes through millions of hands every single year, but it does not stay. It flows in and it flows out, like water through a net. And that net has a name. I call it the structural wealth equation. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how it works, why it traps 99% of people, and the single mathematical shift that allows the other 1% to escape it entirely. But pay close attention to that word I just used, structural. It is not a throwaway adjective. It is the entire map. And I will prove it to you before this video ends. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Arithmetic Prison. Most people believe they have an income problem. They think, if I could just earn more, I would finally get ahead. This belief is not just wrong. It is mathematically disprovable. The median American household brings in roughly $74,580 per year before taxes. After federal income tax, state tax, Social Security, and Medicare contributions, that compresses to approximately $58,000 in actual take-home pay. That is about $4,833 per month hitting your bank account. Now let us subtract what it costs to exist. The median mortgage or rent payment in the United States is $2,317. Utilities average $429. Groceries for a family run approximately $475. Transportation, including a car payment, insurance, and fuel, averages $819. Out-of-pocket healthcare costs average $165 per month. Add those up, $4,205. Gone. Before you have purchased a single piece of clothing, before you have eaten at a single restaurant, before a single unexpected expense has appeared, you are left with $628 per month. That is the theoretical maximum, the absolute ceiling of what most American families could save if they spent $0 on anything beyond bare survival. But here is reality. The Bureau of Economic Analysis reports that the actual personal savings rate in America hovers around 3 to 4%. That translates to roughly $211 per month for the median household. So let us run the wealth equation. If you invest $211 per month into a broad market index fund, returning the S&P 500's historical average of 10.26% annually, how long does it take to reach $1 million? 41.7 years. Let that settle. 41 years of perfect discipline. 41 years of never missing a single monthly contribution. 41 years of market returns matching historical averages, which is not guaranteed. And at the end of it, you reach $1 million at roughly age 67, assuming you started at 25. But we are not done. Adjust that million for inflation at the historical average of 3.22%, and its real purchasing power drops to approximately $263,000 in today's money. Enough for maybe a down payment on a home in a mid-tier city, Maybe. You spent your entire working life to accumulate what the wealthy would consider a rounding error. This is not a motivation problem. This is not a discipline problem. This is an arithmetic prison. The numbers do not work. They were never designed to work. And no amount of budgeting, coupon cutting, or latte sacrifice will change the fundamental equation. Now here is where most people stop thinking. They either accept the math and resign themselves to mediocrity, or they reject it and chase lottery ticket fantasies. But there is a third option, and it requires understanding a mechanism that the wealthiest 1% have been exploiting for centuries. Stay with me, because Chapter 3 is going to show you exactly how 3 ordinary people escape this equation with documented, verifiable math. But first, you need to understand the hidden engine behind all wealth creation. Chapter 2, the engine they never taught you. Every wealthy person in history, without exception, understood one concept that is deliberately absent from standard financial education. I call it capital velocity, and it is the single most important idea in the entire landscape of wealth building. Here is how most people experience money. You trade 1 hour of your time for a fixed amount of dollars. Work 8 hours, receive 8 hours of pay. Work 40 hours, receive 40 hours of pay. This is linear income. It moves in a straight line. The only way to make it grow is to add more hours, or negotiate a slightly higher rate. Both have hard ceilings. Capital operates on a completely different mathematical principle. When you deploy money into a productive asset, that money generates returns without consuming your time. And those returns, when reinvested, generate their own returns. This is exponential growth. It does not move in a straight line. It curves upward. Slowly at first, almost imperceptibly, then dramatically, then explosively. Albert Einstein is often credited with calling compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Whether he actually said it is debatable, but the math behind it is not. $10,000 invested in Walmart stock in 1990 would be worth approximately $1,287,000 today. That is a 12,000% return. No additional labor required. The capital did the work. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, for 34 years straight. But here is what separates the wealthy from everyone else. It is not simply that they invest. Plenty of middle-class people invest. The difference is what I call capital escape velocity. Think of it like a rocket. A rocket must reach a specific speed to break free from Earth's gravitational pull. Below that speed, gravity wins. The rocket falls back. Above that speed, the rocket escapes and travels freely through space with minimal additional fuel. Wealth works identically. There is a precise mathematical threshold where your investment returns exceed your cost of living. Once you cross it, 100% of your earned income becomes deployable capital. Your wealth accumulation does not just increase, it goes parabolic. Let me give you the number. If your annual living expenses are $58,000 and you accumulate $725,000 in assets, generating 8% annual returns, your money produces $58,000 per year passively. Every dollar you earn from that point forward is pure investment fuel. The Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances confirms this pattern with uncomfortable precision. 60% of the wealth held by the top 0.1% comes not from salaries or wages, but from capital gains. Money made by money. They crossed escape velocity. And then mathematics took over. This is why the gap between rich and poor is not closing. It is accelerating. It is not a social phenomenon. It is a mathematical inevitability. Once compounding kicks in beyond the escape threshold, the curve becomes nearly vertical. Those below the threshold experience linear growth. Those above it experience exponential growth. Same economy, same markets, radically different mathematical dimensions. Now you understand the engine. But understanding the engine is useless if you cannot turn it on. In Chapter 3, I am going to show you 3 real strategies that real people used to reach escape velocity, even starting from ordinary incomes. And in Chapter 4, I will reveal the one hidden variable that makes all of this either impossible or inevitable. It connects directly to a word I used in the first 60 seconds of this video. And when you see it, everything will click. Chapter 3. 3 Escapes. Let me show you how the math changes when you change the structure. Escape 1. Leverage. A project manager earning $67,000 a year used an FHA loan to acquire a $285,000 rental property with just $14,250 down, 5%. The property generated $1,850 monthly in rent against a $1,420 mortgage. That is $430 in monthly cash flow. But cash flow is only one layer. She was simultaneously building equity as tenants paid down her mortgage. She was capturing property appreciation, averaging 4.8% annually. And she was claiming depreciation deductions, saving roughly $3,100 per year in taxes. Her total first-year return on that $14,000 investment exceeded 38%. Not in the stock market, in a single rental property. Within 6 years, she had scaled to 11 properties, a portfolio valued at $4.2 million, and a net equity position of $1.7 million. She hit escape velocity in year 6. She did not out-earn the equation. She introduced a multiplier, leverage. Other people's money amplifying her returns beyond what her savings alone could ever produce. Escape 2. Equity conversion. A graphic designer earning $52,000 a year spent 15 hours per week building a niche newsletter about supply chain logistics for e-commerce businesses. For 18 months, this generated zero income. Zero. He was working for free. But he was building an asset. By month 19, he had 12,400 subscribers. He introduced a premium tier at $29 per month. 1,860 subscribers converted. That is $53,940 in annual recurring revenue. He had doubled his income with roughly 8 hours of weekly maintenance. Then came the real wealth event. In 2021, a logistics software company acquired his newsletter for $1.4 million, 26 times annual revenue. He did not sell his time. He built a system, let it compound, and then sold the compounded value at a premium multiple. This is equity conversion. You create something that grows independently of your hours, and then you convert its accumulated value into capital. Capital that can then be deployed to reach escape velocity. Escape 3. Tax architecture. A dentist earning $189,000 annually was losing approximately $52,000 per year to taxes. She restructured her practice as an S corporation, maximized a solo 401k at $66,000 annually, implemented a cash balance pension plan, allowing an additional $140,000 in pre-tax retirement contributions, and utilized a qualified small employer health reimbursement arrangement. Her total legal tax reduction was $61,400 per year, more than her previous total tax bill. That money was redirected into index funds. After 7 years, the cumulative difference exceeded $687,000, compared to her trajectory without the strategy. Same income, same profession, same city. Completely different mathematical outcome. Entirely through restructuring how money moved through her financial life. Three ordinary people, three different strategies, one common principle. They did not work harder inside the existing system. They changed the system's architecture. And that brings us to the final chapter, the one that ties everything together. Chapter 4, the hidden variable. I told you at the beginning of this video that there was one word hidden in the opening that contains the entire wealth map. Let me reveal it now. The word is structural. I said 99% of people are structurally prohibited from building wealth. That word was not casual. It was the key. Because the hidden variable in the entire wealth equation is not income. It is not intelligence. It is not timing or luck or connections. The hidden variable is structure, the architecture of how money flows through your life. The 99% who never build wealth operate inside a closed financial structure. Fixed salary flowing in, fixed expenses flowing out, fixed tax rates extracting their share, fixed consumption patterns absorbing whatever remains. It is a box. And no matter how much money flows into that box, the drainage points ensure it never fills. The 1% did not fill the box faster. They redesigned the box. They replaced linear income with leveraged assets. They replaced consumption spending with capital deployment. They replaced default tax exposure with architected tax efficiency. They restructured. And here is the most important mathematical truth of this entire video. You do not need to be wealthy to restructure. You need to be intentional. The first structural change is always the hardest. Acquiring your first leveraged asset, building your first equity-producing system, implementing your first advanced tax strategy. It feels slow. It feels insignificant. It shifts your trajectory by a fraction of a degree. But here is what fractions of a degree do over time. If two planes take off from the same runway, pointed in almost identical directions, but one is angled just 2 degrees differently, after flying for 1,000 miles, they will land in cities hundreds of miles apart. After 10,000 miles, they will be on different continents. Financial trajectories work the same way. A tiny structural shift today produces a massive destination difference over 20 or 30 years. The math is not your enemy. The math is your instrument. But only if you change the structure it operates within. Every dollar you earn inside the old structure drains away. Every dollar you earn inside a redesigned structure compounds. Same effort. Same hours, same economy. Profoundly different mathematical outcome. The loop now. Before you go, I need you to do something. Go back to the beginning. Listen to the first 60 seconds again. When I said the word structural, I was not describing a problem. I was handing you the solution, the entire solution, disguised as a diagnosis. 99% of people hear that word and think it means they are trapped, that the structure is imposed on them, that it is permanent. The 1% hear that same word and think, if the barrier is structural, then the solution is restructuring. And restructuring is a choice. It is not a talent. It is not a birthright. It is a decision followed by specific mathematical actions. You now have the same math the 1% uses. The question is not whether you understand it. You do. The question is whether you will restructure. But here is what I did not tell you today. Everything we discussed assumes one critical condition, that the monetary system itself remains stable, that the dollars you save and invest retain their value over time. What if they do not? What if there is a hidden mechanism inside central bank policy that is quietly, systematically transferring purchasing power from the bottom 90% to the top 0.1% at a rate of approximately $1.4 trillion per year? That is the subject of the next Rich Real Chronicle, and it connects directly to the structural equation we built today. Because you cannot restructure effectively inside a system you do not fully understand. The next video will make sure you understand it completely. I will see you there.